If you would welcome Chief Bloom, he's going to come up and give us some just safety instructions for campus safety.
Well, I want to thank my parents and all the people who made this possible. And I was told to take about 10 minutes, and I was given 4 areas of interest. The first one was who to contact in an emergency and how to contact them in an emergency. And you know, we had that crisis roundtable here a few months ago. We made a few changes. Back in '07, not long after Virginia Tech, the campus came up with a crisis plan. And it wasn't a bad plan, but for campus police, it was a bit outdated. It said that in the event we had a shooter on campus, you call 911 first, then you call campus police. And campus police would set up a perimeter and try to warn people with a bullhorn and wait for the Dallas police to show up. That was kind of the mindset before Columbine. You know, back in the 90s, you set up a perimeter, wait for a SWAT team to come. But that's way outdated today. And even at the time of Virginia Tech, it had improved a little bit. If you're the first officer on the scene or the one of 2 officers, you wait for some backup, and the thought was you go in with a 4-man team, kind of in a diamond formation. But even waiting for backup, people are dying while you're waiting. So the changes that we talked about in the event of an emergency, whether it's a shooter or a medical emergency or a fire-related emergency, call campus police first and then call 911. Because if you call 911, the operator is going to want to keep you on the line, and then you won't be able to call us. And we might not even know what's going on or where something is happening. And we could be in a situation where the Dallas police roll up, or an ambulance or a fire truck, and we don't even know what's going on. So the change is going to be contact us first. And if it's like a shooter, let's say, all of our full-time officers have active shooter training. And the mindset now is that when you hear gunfire on campus, you react immediately. And you move toward the sound of the gunfire and you stop it. And you don't necessarily wait for backup or anyone else to come. So if we get the call first, we can try to react immediately. And as we know, very often when shooters are confronted with any kind of armed resistance, they will end up taking their own lives instead of risking getting caught. So that's the main thing in a situation like that. I don't know that it's been written up yet, that we have a new crisis plan, but that's what we want you to do. Call us first and give us a chance to react. At the very least, we can prepare for the emergency vehicle. We can be ready for them to come, because one thing we've found is that when you call 911, even if you tell them to come to this location, they'll often send someone to 3909 Swiss. I had a situation where I was in front of the Hendricks building, and I'm talking to the operator, and I say, look, you know, your screen may say 3909 Swiss, but I'm at 3800 Live Oak. You know, send the police there. And I waited and waited, and nobody came. And then I thought, well, I wonder if there's a squad car out at 3909 Swiss. And I ran down there, and sure enough, that's where they sent the officer. So one of the things that we do, you know, if we call for, let's say, an ambulance, and we tell the operator, direct them to come to the Walvard Student Center, we'll have an officer out near Apple and Swiss, so we can see the Student Center. We can also see 3909 Swiss. And no matter where the ambulance comes, then we can run to the ambulance and take care of the situation. So that's something you have to be aware of, especially if you call from a DTS phone. The operator is only going to see 3909 Swiss, and even if you tell them to go somewhere else, they may come to 3909 Swiss. And when we had that round table a few months ago, I invited a couple of DPD officers to come. And if we did have a shooter on campus, let's say they want to set up a command center. And I always thought that they would need a room in a building. And we thought about using Mitchell or Walford, you know, the Maybe Lounge or something like that. But they told us that one of their squad cars can be the command center. So if we have a shooter on campus, they'll probably respond to 3909 Swiss, and the first car that shows up could be the command center, you know, right out here on the street. So, and you guys know how to contact us. I mean, you've got radios. You can just switch over to channel 1, and I'm sure that you know our number. You know, I mean, you more than anyone else on campus, so you know how to contact us. And I don't know if there are any questions. You know, we do have that AED, that defibrillator, in the kiosk. It's mounted on the wall facing Apple Street. If you ever need that, I know some of you have had training, you know, on how to use it. If you ever need it and we're not immediately available, just go into the kiosk and, you know, you can grab it.
Hey, John, I got a question.
Yeah.
Can these older radios on channel 1 still contact the digital ones that you have?
No. That's a good point. How many of you don't have the new digital radio? Okay. Well, then you would have to use a phone. Okay. Then.
What's the number, just so everyone knows to contact?
Let me give you the cell phone number. That's the duty phone. The officer on duty carries that. If you call the kiosk and we're not in there, it rolls over to the duty phone, but it's 214-450-4776. And that goes directly to our cell phone.
But also dialing 3590 would take us.
Yeah, that'll ring in the kiosk, and if we're not there, it'll roll over to that cell phone number.
Or Fenella, right?
Oh yeah, if it's during the day. And that's another good point. If we have like a shooter on campus, all of our full-time officers can send out alerts on the campus alert system. We can send out a text message, and that's one thing that Virginia Tech got nailed on. After the investigation, it was determined that they didn't contact the campus community soon enough. But in a situation like that, we're not going to have time to sit down and log into the system and send a text message. So we're going to radio Fenella, and we're going to say, hey, there's a guy with a gun in the chapel. We're heading over there. You know, log into the alert system, send a text message to everyone who's signed up, and she's going to be the one who will send out the initial alert. And one other thing I wanted to bring up, a lot of times if we have students in a classroom and there's a gunman on campus, the best thing to do might be to hunker down, you know, try to lock yourselves in the room. But I know there are a lot of classrooms that you cannot lock from the inside. And I don't know if that's something we can talk about, something we can address, because you don't want to just be running around. You might run right into the gunman. So maybe that's something we can talk about in the future. The second area that I had was a comment on any issues, problems with golf cart traffic on campus. And, you know, a thought that I've had in the back of my mind, has anyone ever looked into the legality of driving a golf cart on a public street?
Yep.
Did we do that?
Several years ago, yeah.
Okay, and what did you determine?
You got the triangles and obey all the same traffic laws everybody else does. We're considered a slow-moving vehicle. As long as we got those triangles on the back and we adhere to the same rules that, say, a bicycle would, then we're good.
Okay. That's the only thing that, the question I had about that. It's never been an issue for us, but all it's going to take is an accident or something, and it's going to become an issue. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, John, I wanted to mention too that my son last week got running a stop sign ticket for $140 on his bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So golf carts are in that category.
$140.
That'll get you to stop long.
I did, kind of in preparation for the talk today, I did look at the Texas traffic law last week, just starting to look at it. It says that you can drive a golf cart in a gated community, like a planned community. You can drive it on a public or private beach. If you live within 2 miles of a golf course, you can drive it on the street if you're going to the golf course or coming back. And that's all that the traffic code allows. And then it says that a municipality can pass an ordinance allowing it on other streets. So then the question becomes, has Dallas ever passed an ordinance, regulating golf cart traffic on a public street? And we couldn't find a definitive answer. We ended up talking to the city secretary, and she said, why don't you file an open record request and we'll research it for you. So, all I'm saying is that is something we should probably talk about. And, but even if there's an ordinance that allows for golf cart traffic on a public street, the DMV says that all golf carts have to be insured. I don't know if our vehicle insurance covers golf carts. They have to have the slow-moving emblem on the back, and they have to have headlights, taillights, reflectors, brakes, and mirrors. So, and I know up until 2009, the DMV used to register golf carts, but you can't do that anymore. So I think at the very least, we could be driving non-registered vehicles, which could be a $500 fine. But it's just something I want to talk about. If it ever becomes an issue, I don't want someone coming back to me and saying, why didn't campus police do something about this? We typically don't enforce traffic law. So, but it's something just to be thinking about, and I know when I'm on the golf cart, I try to drive on the sidewalk as much as I can. If I am in the street and a vehicle's coming up behind me, I move over to the left, even stop. I let the vehicle have the right of way. All it would take was some angry motorist who can't pass us to call the Dallas police and complain about it or something. So maybe that's something more we can talk about. Does anyone know if our golf carts are covered on the insurance plan?
I don't think so.
Okay. I think the minimum is that the driver has to be insured up to, or $25,000 minimum for injury, accidents, and up to a total of $50,000 per all occupants in the golf cart. And I think there may be some collision insurance maybe as well. But I think we can kind of cover ourselves if we're insured. We have the slow-moving vehicle emblem, which we don't even have on ours. So all your carts have those?
I don't know. Yeah.
I know some of them do. So we've got to purchase a couple. Maybe we can get them on all the golf carts. Look into the insurance aspect of it. So now I don't know if George Hansen ever talked about this when he was here, or Tim Hammond. And so if we've looked into it and everything looks good, I mean, that's fine. Third was update on crime in the area. We typically use auto burglaries every year to gauge crime in the area. Our two biggest areas are theft and auto burglaries. And thefts can be done by students on campus. So auto burglaries, usually somebody's coming in from the outside. So last year we had 11, which is a pretty good year. And the year before that we had 15. So I think crime is kind of tending downward, but we had 11. That's about one a month. So I think crime right now it's a little bit better than it was the year before last. And then how to deal with persons of interest on campus. We've always thought of FPO people as our extra eyes and ears. You're on campus, you're going around to different buildings. If you see somebody suspicious, call us and tell us. You know, one of the people we have to look out for today, they're called the office creeper. And they kind of look like they belong in the office or they belong on campus like a student. And they'll just kind of walk through buildings and looking for an opportunity. We had a laptop stolen in the library last week. The guy left it on a table in the basement, went back up to where he was studying, realized it was gone, came back down, and it was gone. I mean, just that quick. So if you see anybody suspicious, let us know. And that's our job, to look into it. So I think I finished in under 10 minutes. So that was my goal. Any questions or?
Question.
Okay.
What would be some behavior, suspicious behavior for someone who is considered suspicious? What is that? What that means?
It's like hiding in the bushes.
Yeah, a guy hiding in the bushes.
I mean, is there a new profile for that? Like me?
You know, it's hard to really define what suspicious is, but when you see it, kind of like pornography. Yeah, when you see it, you just get like a feeling in your gut. Someone who just looks a little out of place. Maybe they're standing in an area, you know, kind of just looking around for the coast to be clear. Maybe someone, you can't really tell by dress anymore. I mean, students, they used to be able to tell, you know, by the way they were dressed, but you can't really tell anymore. But if anything just doesn't look right to you. You know, we had a guy a few weeks ago at night just hanging out in front of Swiss Tower. And I think he was just kind of looking around. Then he jumped over the pedestrian gate, got into the compound. And the thing about it is we saw cars pulling into the Swiss Tower parking lot, and I'm sure that they saw this guy standing out there. Nobody called us. And fortunately, when he got in, he saw another resident pull in, and then he walked back out and then walked away. And and it also helps when you have contractors on campus, make sure they have that FPO hang tag. Sometimes they don't, but just keep us advised of, you know, people on campus and things like that.
Sometimes I'll see people standing outside my window looking at the campus map or whatever, or see people on campus that just obviously don't know where they are or where they're going. And I just ask them, can I help you? And you can kind of tell from that conversation whether they're actually here for a reason or if they're just checking things out.
Right. And if anyone ever approaches you, just send them over to Campus Police. Say Campus Police they can help you over there, and send them to us. You know, sometimes it backfires. I've confronted people who've turned out to be students, and they're not very happy about it. I've had people threaten to go to the administration and turn me in, and I mean that's fine. It just comes with the territory. So, all right, I appreciate the opportunity. All right, thank you.